Hello, welcome back to the channel. Today we're out for a little drive in George to celebrate 2 years of ownership. It was 2 years ago this month that I rescued George from long-term storage. As a car, he'd been off the road since 1981, and this is the first time he would see the road again in over 38 years. Oh, transfer. So yes, 38 years. The car was registered in February 79 and was parked up in March 81. And then sat for nearly 40 years in a barn. The reason that sadly lost to time, we think the guy who owned it gave up driving, but so those who are familiar with the channel and this car's progress will know that George has been a long-term project. It was in September 2 years ago that I bought him from a seller who actually bought him as a parts car, and on buying the car realised how straight he was, put it to one side, and then lockdown happened and he never finished getting the car back on the road. So he decided that it wasn't the car for him because he wanted a parts car for his other Allegro, and ended up putting it up for sale, and this is where I came into the picture. So I went with my friend Gary to Basingstoke in Hampshire, where we acquired the car. Attempted initially to drive it back, but he'd been parked up for so long. Although the seller had said it was running and driving, it needed a load of work, and he thought we were bonkers to attempt to drive it back. I was a bit foolhardy, assuming that I could just drive it back the old 60 miles. So I ended up getting the car recovered after a couple of breakdowns on the way back. We managed to coast the car into a pub car park, much to the amusement of the Sunday patrons who were all having their drinks in the beer garden. They laughed at my misfortune as an Allegro pulled up out of sight into this, or was rather pushed into this car park by myself and my much patient friend Gary. Thank you, Gary. But yeah, so 2 years later he's back on the road. But why is my car called George? Well, initially when looking at buying this car, the seller sent me a load of prospective pictures of the car. Amongst that was this picture of this dusty covered Allegro, and it's literally just been pulled out of the barn, and on the glass in the dust somebody had written the name George. Oh, had to be, didn't it? On getting the car back in September 2 years ago, it was abundantly clear that he needed loads of work. Nothing structural, the car is very, very solid and has never had any welding. But there's loads of things to do. The suspension was rock solid and had collapsed on one side. The brakes needed overhauling, the wheel bearings needed re-greasing, repacking, so I've done all of that. The carburetor's been serviced. The head gasket's been done a couple of times I should say. And also the original cylinder head has been off the car and refurbished completely with new unleaded valves, so he's future-proof against modern fuels. But what is it like driving a 44-year-old car as a daily? Well, absolutely fine. It keeps up with the traffic. The engine is so frugal, it does about 45 to the gallon and a bit more than that on the run. It's the same A-Series engine as fits the original Mini, so it's the A-Series 1275cc capacity, producing about 56 horsepower from new. I don't know how many of the horses are left as stable now, but it keeps up with the traffic. So today I thought we'd just take him for a little drive. The weather is quite warm, so I've got my hat back on to avoid any sunburn, and we're going to go and find ice cream. So good times. We're not going too far, we're going to go to Milford-on-Sea in Hampshire. It's a nice beauty spot to hopefully stop there and hopefully find something that sells ice cream. This is a lovely part of Hampshire, very picturesque. It's not too far from Bournemouth, but Bournemouth is so busy these days, so I try and avoid that. Try and find somewhere to park. There's a lot of people here today. Right, I'm going to find somewhere to park, and I shall be back with you shortly. Cheers. Yes, so this is George, my 1979 Austin Allegro. We've done loads to this car since we originally got him 2 years ago. Let's have a look round. This car has come such a long way since we got him 2 years ago. When I initially bought him, the suspension had collapsed on the back. It was down on the bumper stops, so initial attempts to pump it up meant with a leaking pipe, unfortunately. The hydrogas pipes that run front to rear had corroded away, and they just started leaking. So in February of 2022, Ian and Dawn Kennedy came out and completely replaced all the suspension for me. He now rides like a new car. Let's take a look under the bonnet. Excuse the noise in the background, noisy holiday makers. Yeah, this is the 1275 56 brake horsepower engine. Again, I've done loads to this. That's the original head that's been completely stripped and refurbished. A new alternator, new coil, new battery. Manifold's been off and been painted. Carburetor's been serviced, stripped down. What else have we done to it? Loads, absolutely loads. Ignition points, condenser, rotor arm. All the basics you'd expect really to keep a car in tip-top form. This is a hydrogas unit. This is the top half of it. This valve wouldn't be here from new. That's been put there so the nitrogen gas that's crucial to this system for the suspension could be regassed, something they didn't do from new. So what's it like owning an Allegro? Well, absolutely brilliant really. It's such a reliable, simple little car to work on. You can get around the suspension issue, which isn't a big problem once you get your head around how it works. They're actually very, very reliable. A few little scabs here and there. It's not perfect. Bit of rust coming through on the bottom of the doors. I need to address that. But quite honestly, if it was immaculate, I wouldn't want to use it every day. I need to address that at some point. That's gone through to the primer underneath there. So yeah, he's got a few scabs here and there, but hey, it's 44 years old and unrestored. That's an annoying noise. Let's take a look inside. Across the dash you've got a temperature gauge, clock, a genuine 31,000 miles. When we bought this car it was just over 25,000, so not too far. Still haven't fixed the fuel gauge, it still doesn't work. I'll get to it one day. Medium wave FM radio. I replaced the cigarette light, noisy birds. Replaced the cigarette lighter for one that now works. I've got 2-speed heater control fan there. Side lights and dip beam. Heated rear windscreen. Hazard warning lights. And over on the other side. And this is where you check your brake fluid level. If that light ever illuminates when you're driving, you've got a problem. On the instrument stalks you've got wipers, 2 speeds. On the other side you've got horn, indicators and main beam flasher. Should we do a wiper test? Because I know hubnut fans would appreciate that. Bit smeary, could probably do the changing of the blades. No dribble of disappointment. I'd call that a resounding success. Awesome. On a serious point, if you are looking at buying a classic car, an Allegro is a good starting point. They are so straightforward to work on mechanically. If you get an A-series engine version, then all the parts are available because they're shared with classic minis, and there's loads of spec companies doing spares for those. Panels are a little bit rarer to get hold of, but they do crop up, and there's a very good parts following through the owners club, so well worth checking those guys out. They are brilliant. I've had no problems, touch wood, keeping this on the road. Everything I need to get, if there was an emergency, I've got the parts within 2 or 3 days from the club, so they are really on it, guys. They really go out of their way to help you out. So anyway, I'm going to leave it there, guys. Thanks ever so much. Just wanted to do a quick video today and a bit of an update, because it suddenly dawned on me it's 2 years since we've had George back on the road, so good times. I'll be back very soon with some more content. Thanks to all for watching, guys. See you very soon with some more content. Take care.